Good afternoon, everybody. This is a continuation to the object-oriented classes that we did previously. And this one we will explain the concept of inheritance. So we're going to take the same example that we did last time, which is related to, it's called Review 4. And we're going to have the ball. But in addition to the ball, we will have two more classes. One class we will call it Sprite. And another class, we will call it a balloon. And the sprite is going to be my parent class, and the balloon and the ball are my children classes. All right, so we will create a new class. We will go on here and create a class. And this is a C# class, and then I'm going to call this is Sprite. Okay. A sprite usually is a term used in games a lot, which represent basically an object on the screen. Okay. So I'm going to say add, and in this class we will have the things that are very similar to the ball class. And do you remember in the ball class we had a few attributes. We had x, y, and what? X, y, brush, and then in here we had the size. In the ball we had the size. Okay. So if I go into the classes and then just open the ball class, here's my ball class, right? I can copy these and put them into the other class. Okay. So I'm going to copy everything that we have in here and then just paste it in my other class. Let's just copy the attributes first. Okay, so control copy and then go back to my sprite class and then paste it in here. All right. Now, let's take a look at what we have here in terms of attribute. First of all, my brush is saying that is not found. So what do I have to do? I have to, using system.drawing to make sure it is there. Okay. Now, the other parts, XY is okay. Size we still need. And then my brush. Okay. Tayyib. How about now size? Maybe it's not related here because we said we wanted to have different. If it's a car, as I was telling you, maybe we have a car, we have something else. We have the size is not important in this case, okay? Because it's not common in all objects. So in here, I'm going to take size out. Instead of size, I'm going to change that to speed. Because all objects that we have speed, okay, which is the movement on the screen. What else do we have? We have int value, value y, and value 2. I'm not going to do those. We use them in the ball class, but they're not used here, so I don't need them in here. So I'm going to take them out. Here we have a class, default constructor called ball. We don't have a ball. We have here, what is the name of this class? Sprite. So I'm going to call it Sprite. Okay, and the speed, instead of that, we initialize speed to, for example, 3 or 4. Okay, so if you don't pass me anything, if you create the object using the default constructor, this is what you'll get. You'll get x20, y20, 50, speed 4, and then the brush is red. For the non-default constructor, again it's a sprite, and we have x and y in S and B, but instead of size here, this is actually speed. And to make it useful to the user to understand what these parameters are, you can actually write it down, speed, and call it brush. Okay, so when they create the object, they know what to pass. And now, instead of this, I need to say this dot speed equal speed, and then my brush equal brush. All right? So these are the attributes, and I made these all public. These are the attributes that available where? Available in the sprite class. Next, I need the graphics. I need the graphics G, but I'm just gonna draw an ellipse just to show you, or we don't have to draw anything. Okay, but if you don't have in the child class, if you don't have draw method, I'm gonna give you one. But here we're gonna change the name draw to something else. We want to say this to render. Okay, and we're not gonna draw all of this. We'll just draw something in here. We'll say maybe 2020, and then the rest is not needed. It's just a dummy method that, okay, if you don't have one, we'll give you the render method. And the move, I don't have a move anymore. I have update. The update in games, usually it updates the status or the state of your object, whether it is the life, the damage, the movement, the action. Any of these things happen usually in the update method. All right. Now, I'm not gonna do any of these things, the Y value and all of this. Okay, you want to move? Okay, fine. If you don't have a move method in your class, I would say X equal X plus speed. Okay? X equal X plus speed. So whatever the value of X will be added to the speed. Okay? We add speed to it. So this is my class called sprite. Now I go to my car class and then I modify it. Keep the things that are specific to the car, and the things that are not to the ball, and the things that are not specific to the ball, we put them where? In the parent class, which we decided already. In the parent class, we have the following object, X, Y, the following attribute, X, Y, speed, and the brush. So let's go to the ball class. Here's my ball class. And let's start from the top. First thing I have to do, I have to say this is a child of sprite. When I say it's a child of sprite, what do? I put the colon and type in sprite. Now when I did this piece here, it says, oh, this ball is a type or is a subclass of this class, the parent class sprite. Now what does the sprite has in it? Sprite has in it X, Y, speed, and my brush. Now do I go back? Then I go back to my ball class and I say, oh, do I need X and Y?
Yes.
Do I need X and Y?
Yes,
No. Why don't I need X and Y? Because they are in the parent class. No more. No need. It's not needed in here. I automatically inherit them from the parent class. So this we don't need. And notice, even I deleted them, there was no error here, right? It's still working fine. Why? Because X is defined in the parent class, so it's not a problem. You got the idea? Type. Let's go next and see what else do we have. We have the size. The size, because it's a ball, remember we deleted the size from the parent class. We had speed. So the size, we want to keep it in here because I can have different ball sizes. But about the brush, what about the brush? We have it in the parent class, so we will delete it. Yeah? What's left in here? I have int value 2 and int value value and value y. This is value for because the ball was bouncing in a different direction. We wanted x and y to move. So I'm going to keep those because they are not in the parent class. They are specific to the ball type. Now, the constructor. I have a default constructor, but I also have a default constructor where? In the parent class, sprite. So do I need this default constructor in the ball class? Unless I have to do something specific to it, then I need it. Otherwise, what do? I just delete it. We already know that y and x and my brush and the speed, they're already being set where? In the parent class. So I don't need those in here. Alhamdulillah. You understand what am I doing? So in the my constructor, if you don't call anything, if you just create the ball class, this is the only thing that'll happen in this class. But what about the parent class? In the parent class, I have a default constructor. This is called sprite, and it initializes these values: 2, 20, 50, and 4, and my brush red. Yani, if you want to also call my parent class, and this is what usually happens in a constructor. If you have a parent class, and then you have a child class, and you have a constructor in both of them, you can call the parent constructor. How do you call the parent constructor? You put 2 period, and then you say what? Base. Right? So now what does that happen? What does that do? It says, okay, you are calling my constructor, which is ball, and I'm going to assign 20 to it, but at the same time, I want to call the parent constructor, which is, you use base, and if you go in here, what happens in the parent constructor? You do this, you do this, you do this, and then you do this. Is that clear? Yeah. All right, let's continue with this class. So that is that parent constructor. How about here, the non-default constructor? We also have non-default constructor in here, which expect you to pass x, y, the speed, and the brush. So if we go back in here, we go back to the ball class, I receive x, y. Here, let's make it speed and the brush, right? But in addition to that, what do we have? What do we have in addition to that? We have the size. So I need to say comma, size, and size. So the first 4, this, and this belong to what? To the parent. The last one is the one that is specific to the car. You got the idea? Type. Again, do I need to do this? No. Do I need to go do that? The size we do, which is what? So we need to say this dot size equal to the size that we receive. And then this is not needed anymore. But they are in the parent. Again, I have to pass the things that are related to the parent constructor. So how do I call the parent constructor? What do we say? Base, x, y, speed, and then b. The things that are required in what? In the parent class. So I do the same thing in here. I say colon, base, x, y, speed, and then b. You understand what we're doing? Yani now, if I go to the parent class, sprite, and the constructor, this is the constructor receive these values. So if you create the object using a default constructor, this is what you get, and you call the parent constructor, which is this. Otherwise, if you call the non-default constructor, you get this, and you call the base constructor non-default constructor using the parameter being passed to us. Clear? One more thing now, اللي هي the draw and what? The move. The draw, we don't have a draw anymore. What do we have? We have render. And then here, we don't have move, we have update. واضح? Everything stays the same. The drawing that happens here are specific to what? To the ball. The movement that happens in here, it happens specific to the ball. You got the idea? So now all my drawing happens to the ball. Instead of like you were doing it in your assignment, vehicle, if you remember in the draw method, you have like if type equal car, then I draw the car. If type equal truck, then I draw a truck. If type is equal to plane, then I draw a plane. No. You'll have a draw method or an update method and a render method in each one of those classes, which you'll see in a minute when we create the other class. Type. What about the movement? The movement is okay. All right? But instead of -2 and 2, we want to use what? We want to use the speed. The speed of the object. I mean, we have a speed, right? Yeah, instead of saying 2 on my hard-coded, we want to actually specify the speed. So instead of -2, we say speed. Instead of 2 equals speed. Why are we doing this? Because each object has its own speed. And then we can set the speed. If I always keep it as 2, it will be always 2. You cannot change that speed. But now when I create the object, I also specify how fast this object is, which is the speed. Okay, and same thing in here, speed. And then same thing in here, speed. Okay, there is a little bug in here, which is what? We're not using hard-coded value y and value and value y anymore. They're not hard-coded. Here we're assigning him to what? We're assigning him to 2. But now this is depend on the speed. So what do? When I create my constructor, I just simply say speed is equal to, or value equal to speed. Value equal to speed, and value y equal to speed. Why we do this? So when we start the object, when you create the object, it's set to the speed that we specify. So in here, I just say value equals speed, and value y equal to speed, because they both go in the same direction. Okay. Now, whatever speed I pass to it, it will be the speed of that ball. And I'll show you this example in a minute. Okay? Is that clear? Everything is the same in my ball class. Now let's go to the form and the timer. Notice I have a problem with the green ball and blue ball, right? What is the problem saying? I have a red ball too. What is the problem saying here now? I don't have a constructor anymore that expect only this. What does it expect? Expect more. What does it expect more? The size. يعني أول واحد هذا speed. If remember, this is the speed. If we say, for example, 5, and this speed is 5. But now but this one, it's expect the size. So here, notice when I do that, it says it's expecting X, Y, speed, the brush, and the size. This is how I create my object anymore. So now here I say what? I will say the size is, let's say, 30. And then here we say the size is 20. So I'm creating 3 objects. Notice what we're creating, ya shabab. 1, using the default constructor. تذكروا the default constructor, it will have only, we get a red ball, and then we will get default X, default Y, and then we will get also what? Default speed. So if you want to do it that way, you can. Otherwise, you can specify where do you want it to create your object. X, Y, and then different speed. Is that clear? That's all we did. Let's run it and see what happens. Same example. Let's run it and see what happens. We have a problem. Yeah, good. What is the problem? ما عندي move عادة هلا. شو أنا عندي صار هلا؟ عندي update. Good catch. And then we have what? This is update. And this is update. And this is render. And then render. Let's run it and see what happens. We're getting three different objects, but notice the speeds are different. This one was the default speed, the one with the red color, that was the default. Remember, was the speed we said it's only 2 or 5, whatever it is, right? And the position was created in here. But the other ones, this one is faster because I said the speed now for that object is faster, it's 5. And this object is, speed of that is 4. You got the idea? Is that clear? So here's what we did. When we create this, the other part stays the same in the timer. The only thing that is different now, when I create the object, I can specify. I can specify the speed. I can specify the size of it. Is that clear? So now if I make this is, for example, instead of 4, I will make it 15 or 10. So this object will be faster. And which color is that? That is the blue color. So if I run it, do you see that the blue one is faster? Yeah? That one, slower. The red one, because it's the default, it's slower. You got the idea? Let me pause it for a minute. All right, so we're done with the first part. Now we want to extend this idea to creating another type of object, which is what? A balloon. A balloon, it behaves the same way, has similar characteristics to the ball, but in this case, the balloon just travels up in the air, and the drawing is a little bit different. So it has a low speed, and what it has, it moves, just keeps moving up just keep moving out of the scene. Then how do we do this? We go and create, we go to Solution Explorer, and let's create another object. Class, we're adding a class, and the name of this class is balloon. And then we click on add. Now this balloon again is what? Is a child of sprite. So automatically I have the X, Y, and then the draw and the move. If I don't do anything, listen, I already have the constructor, and I have the default constructor, and I have the two methods. Now, if I don't do anything specific to the balloon, if I just use it now, I will get these objects. Let's try it. I will get the behavior. So if I go to my form class, and let's create another object, and let's call it balloon. And then I'm going to call it B1, balloon 1. All right? And all I need to do, create this balloon. If I go in here, in my class, I'm going to say balloon B1 equal new. What do I pass to it? X, اللي هن ايش؟ 100. We don't want to say 100. مثلا, let's say 300, or for X we'll say 100, and then for Y we'll say 200 or 300. For Z, or for speed, the speed I'm going to make it very slow. And then what? For the brush, شو بتكون color?
New balloon?
Yeah, sorry, new balloon. Okay. The brush is what? The brush is, what color do you want? Green? Yellow. Green, yellow. And then that's all. Right? So I said new balloon. Huh? What does it say here? the I don't have a constructor that takes 4 arguments, but I have a default constructor. So what do I have to do in here? I have to create the constructor in the class. So I go back to my balloon, and then I just create the constructor which is similar to what I have, the same signature which I have in the sprite. So I can just take this, right? And then go back to my class, the balloon class, create it in here, and then now I just simply do what? Do that base thing and say, which is what? First of all, we need to change that to say balloon, right? And then I say base x, y, speed, and brush. That's all I need to do. Now if you go back to the form, oh, we need to do that drawing using system dot drawing. Now if we run it, if we go back to the form, it's happy. Yeah? Type. Now in my timer, I'm just going to say render and draw. Now render and draw mode, they exist in the parent class, but they don't do much. The one that draw, the render, it just moves across, it says x equal, sorry, the update just say x equal x plus speed, and the render, it just draws an ellipse, which is not what we want, but I just want to show you that you can do it. So in here I can say b1 dot run update, and then this dot width, comma this dot height. Okay, and then the last part is about the drawing, which is b1, huh? And then the last part, which is b1 dot render, and then here g. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Notice I didn't do much. I didn't create much codes in the balloon, but let's see what happens. I got this, and it's moving across the street, across the screen, right? But so this is not what we want. We want it actually to move up, and this is not the drawing that we want. We want to make our own drawing. So I have to create customized drawing where? In the balloon class. You got the idea? So now we go and do what? Go to the balloon class, and I implement those two methods, which one are the draw and the render. I can go to the ball class just to save some time and copy them from here. Okay? I don't need everything, but I'm just going to copy these. Okay? So I go to the balloon class and then draw them and copy them. I have the render and I have the update. The render, the draw, we want to draw an ellipse, but I don't want this ellipse to be, I want it to be fixed size for now. Let's just say 40 by 40. Now, in addition to that, I have to draw a line. How do we draw a line? G dot draw line. Now, if I say X and Y, what will happen? It will be on the side. We want it to be in the center. So, how do I put it in the center of the balloon? Do you see this? 40 and 40, right? So X and Y, and if I add the half of this, it will be in the center. So if I say 20 for the X, so if I say, no, not 20, I say X plus 20. Okay? And then for the y, what do I do? Y plus 40 or 20? 40 or 20 for the y. If you put it 40 because you want it to be at the bottom. If you do it at the center, it looks like a line hanging from the center, but you want it to be at the bottom of the balloon. You got the idea? Okay, and then semicolon. Oh, we have today pen, right? Pen. What color do you guys want?
Purple.
White?
Blue.
Blue? Okay, خليها white for now. Okay. Now, the update. How does the balloon move? It just moves up. If it moves up, what do? We add to y, or do we subtract to y? If we want it to move up, we subtract. So all I say, y equal y minus speed. Do I need to worry about bouncing back? يعني بدنا إياه يرجع البالون يرجع يضرب hits the ceiling and comes back? No, we want it to just keep going in the skies, right? So now let's see what happens. Watch what happens. If I draw it, if I run it, oh, but the line is wrong. Yeah? There's something wrong with the line. The line is coming. What's happening with the line? Why is it going that way?
I think it's not X and Y.
Huh? Oh, X and Y is a problem.
Yes.
We don't want to draw from the X and Y. If you say X and Y, it'll be the upper left corner, right? So this actually should be the starting point. Yeah? So this is my starting point. And where is my ending point? Same X plus 20, but Y maybe it depends on how long we want it to be, right? We say Y plus let's say 80. Okay? So now if we run it, we get a balloon going up. Notice, yeah? You can. Do you want it to explode after a certain distance? If we make the screen bigger, the balloon is still there. Now it's gone. Anyway, you can't see it, right? But this balloon is only one. Do you see how easy it is to create? After you create this object, all we did is that now I know I want to draw a balloon. I just create a class called balloon, extend it, and then do the things that are special in the balloon. If I want to create a plane, I extend it and do the drawing in the plane, and then that's it. Huh? Let's pause it for a minute. Alright, so now we got one balloon to work, but let's create multiple balloons, and we want to create their positions in a random places. Okay, in a random places. And how do we create random places and random, maybe just random positions, okay? What do? You can apply the same thing for the car. You can create random speed for the balloons, the balls. So now if I go to balloon, I go to my form, and I'm going to create a couple more. I'm going to say B1, B2, and then B3. But B2 and B3 will have random positions, okay, in the screen. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create an object called random R equal new random, and I'm going to say so we got random, right? Now I define int x, y, speed. No, the speed we're gonna keep it constant too. Okay, and then just x and y. Okay, then I say x equal next or r dot next random anywhere in the screen. I can define it anywhere, but I'm just gonna say I want it to be very low and So I'm going to say between 0 for the x and let's say 300, or maybe 100 and 300 for the x, okay? Leave it, 10 and 300 for the x. And then for the y, I'm going to say x equal, y equal, because I want it to be in the lower part of the screen, I'm going to say r.next between, let's say, 300 and 400. So it will be at the lower part of the screen. And then I just simply say control copy, control V, B1, B2, and then here we say X, and then we say Y. Okay? And then same thing here, I do the same thing for, I copy the whole thing again for the third balloon. Okay? And then here I say B3, and then we get to different point. Badal the green, we want to make one pink. For those guys that like pink colors. Okay. And then here we want to make this blue, light blue. Okay, light blue. All right. Now, these are in my, when I create the object. Then in my class, all I do is that B1, I repeat this 3 times for B1 and B2. So this is B2, B2, and then B3, B3. Notice what happens. Now, if I run it, you will get 3 different balloons on the screen. You can, but usually balloons don't come down. Notice, because it's random, when I run it the next time, I got in a different position. Every time you run it, you will get different position. You're okay? Is that clear? So that is the power of object-oriented. You do it one time, you do it right, and then you can create multiple objects, and then you just create specific classes for specific needs. Okay? All right, we're done for the day.